When the gavel dropped in Des Moines this morning to begin the Iowa legislative session, lawmakers faced a very different scene than one they did a year ago. And many wonder whether the pandemic will change lawmakers' plans and priorities at the state capitol. What precautions do you know will be taken to protect lawmakers like yourself?
Well, I don't know that there's going to be a mask mandate, Matt. I don't think there is in the chamber.
In fact, masks won't be required, simply encouraged in the Capitol building, according to a memo from House and Senate leadership. Social distancing, however, will be practiced. There are also changes for committee and subcommittee meetings.
Our subcommittee meetings, and I think this is important, will be all virtual. They'll have a virtual component. That's how I plan to participate.
And as the pandemic persists, some are asking, should lawmakers in Iowa meet in person at all?
I would go the first day, and because constitutionally we have to do that.
Then, Smith says, go completely virtual for several weeks. Representative Jacob Bossman of Sioux City disagrees.
I think that there's a lot of that process of government that does not work as well without everybody together to share ideas and bounce things off each other.
Like a 1-cent sales tax hike floated by Governor Reynolds last January as a way to offset proposed cuts to income and property taxes. Plus, fund Iowa's mental health system and pay for programs to preserve Iowa's natural resources.
The environmental issues and mental health funding, which is that was the governor's proposal, should be looked at this year.
Smith, a Democrat, worries that Iowans won't accept the tax hike. Republican Senator Jim Carlin shares Smith's concern.
I would not be in favor of a 1% sales tax increase. I know some people want to fund water quality that way. I'm not one of them.
Lawmakers have priorities of their own to push this session, like funding for child care.
I think now especially you're running into issues of access, particularly a lot of people, nurses and teachers and other frontline workers who need to work.
Bossman also favors increasing the reimbursement rate to make the industry more profitable for child care providers.
With the new composition of the Supreme Court, I think we have a real shot at having it be upheld.
Carlin thinks the time is right to try and advance the so-called heartbeat bill again, making abortion illegal in Iowa after a fetal heartbeat is detected.
It's a bill that defines it would substantively result in saving lives, in my mind.
Lawmakers passed the bill in 2018, and the governor signed it into law. But a Polk County judge found the law unconstitutional, and the governor chose not to appeal the ruling. Lawmakers' priorities aside, what will Governor Kim Reynolds ask them to work on this session? In his budget presentation a month ago, Iowa State Auditor Rob Sand asked lawmakers to spend money from the state's cash reserve fund and emergency fund to offer relief to individuals and small businesses during the pandemic. During a 26-minute presentation, Sand said state government will be sitting on over $1 billion by June. But Sand says the state has over $700 million right now. He estimates there's $290 million in cash reserves that can be spent by the legislature for non-recurring emergency expenses. But Sand says if 3/5 of the legislature supports it, all $587 million in cash reserves can be spent. And Sand says that would still leave the state government with hundreds of millions of dollars in surplus. Governor Reynolds will outline her priorities during tomorrow's Condition of the State speech to a joint session of the Iowa Legislature. The speech starts at 6 p.m. That's a change from normal years. We'll stream it live at KTIV.com, on our Facebook page, and on the KTIV News 4 app starting at